A synopsis of what has happened. 19-year-old Nathaniel Rivers decided to create a YouTube channel while feeling listless in college, but after 4 months promptly gave up to work on other things. Another 8 months pass, and they return to the pilot seat only to have their parents get divorced, which leads Nate to drop out of college, move back home, pursue YouTube full-time. After 9 months of barely amassing savings, they stream Persona 5, which launches them into viability. Nier then, going primarily as hiding, moves to the heart of Dallas, Texas. This is my chance to prove myself. But with decreasing support and family matters falling to Arkansas for a year, now the opportunity has arisen for a second wind. Evan, Eden, Jack, Core, and Hiding make their move toward Austin, Texas. Now, what do you suppose will happen after that? The main thing that got me into anime when I was a kid wasn't shonen or even slice of life. The main thing that kept me watching and coming back, once my cousin introduced me, was romance anime. I would watch it all of the time, from the most shameless ecchi to the most pure, wholesome of relationships, to the most convoluted premises. It was captivating, going from pre to barely pubescent, seeing what the future could hold for me in just a few years when I would finally enter middle and maybe even high school eventually. Until a couple months ago, I, Nate Rivers, found myself in a stable relationship for the first time since I dropped out of college. Funnily enough, though, in this situation, I had felt all my romantic and sexual feelings dry up. It was cause for a lot of self-reflection on the way that I perceive and understand relationships, or even what I want. Naturally, that led to making myself a few drinks and finding myself on a strong romance kick. Seeing some shows for the first time and revisiting other shows that I'd loved when I was young, still so many of those shows, the backs and forth, the lapse of understanding, the spur-of-the-moment opportunities. But reality is often different. Society, due to its obscene obsession over reproducing without the reproducing part, and I, due to my solitary confinement-like work life, has made things a little difficult to replicate, having left the school environment. But by a twist of fate, I still found myself in plenty of romantic encounters and even a stable relationship. Still, unfortunately, unsatisfying and hard to pinpoint why. Am I just broken? At last I can say, of course not. Happy Pride Month, everyone. But, in order to understand your own feelings, it's best to see it reflected in art. Why not go back to square one? Funnily enough, I don't remember the first romance anime I watched. They all blur together in vague memory for the first few years. Save a couple standout exceptions, most of them are probably awful. A lot of people in the West have strong criticism of romance anime. It all rings the same. They hate the slow pace of the relationships unfolding, and I suppose that makes sense when nearly every Western young adult show will have a hookup sometime in or before the second episode. The idea of spending a whole series, multiple seasons, many months trudging their feet, I can understand why it would be insufferable to people. Actually, no. Why is it insufferable? That sweet spot before the confession when hearts are racing and your incredibly strong feelings are running wild and confused abandon. Why would you want to rush the emotional high, the limited grounds of that part of your life? These are the brief treasured moments that you will remember when you're old, when you tell your grandkids how you met. Your memory and misunderstandings of the person that you wanted to love before you were able to truly love them are what you will chat about and laugh about once you have finally gotten together. Once you're together, unless something goes wrong, that's just the way things are. Sure, once you both know that you're interested in each other, you get to reproduce, even without the reproduction part, if you want. And sure, you get to go on fun dates, but eventually you've gone on all those dates, and aren't dates more fun when you feel like you're getting to know someone? Experiencing another life, foreign from yours, that makes your heart race? Fate is meaningful only when you make your way in life. So for me, that spot is just as important as the relationship itself, even if it doesn't work out. Still, even if you don't relate to the sentiment, there's still plenty of romance anime out there for you to enjoy. Let's call it teamwork. I'll find you a romance anime to watch, and you'll keep me from dying. Now, there's nothing but to take action. This is a classic shoujo as you can get, sexless as can be. If you woke up in this world, you might confuse it for some hyper-romantic asexual paradise. Everything is peak wholesome, peak true love, and the only allusion to anything PG-13 is strictly euphemistic and responded to with inhuman levels of blushing. Sometimes shows like Ore Monogatari will flip the script and have one character mention their more base desires, but it's played as cute as possible. This romance plays second fiddle to the comedy or story, with romance narrative mainly playing as a means to keep a sense of progress. Countless anime occupy this space, like Kaguyasama or Takagi-san. Plenty of anime also straddle the line between this type and the previous delineation. Maybe it's more up your alley, but it's also not as romance focused, so it's up to you. Honestly, I'm including this kind of superficially, but this is basically any romance that leans on the opposite side of the first type, generally aimed at shonen, a focus on large sex appeal. This can be trashy pseudo-harems or even shows like Dress Up Darling that, despite large amounts of ecchi content, still center on a serious romantic-propelled narrative. What else? I don't know, do none of these sound interesting to you? I've been doing all these stupid things, but I really do like romance anime. More so, I think it's good? What's good about it? I suppose it could be the intelligent writing and personality, of course. How tight some of the delivery is, from jokes to genuine moments. The seiyuu often also have enjoyable delivery. The aesthetics, while not always being to my liking, is also nice. Just the variety, but also the sheer artistic love put into making a show with love in it. The love of an artist to display love to an audience. Isn't that something that warms you up? Maybe that's why it would be less straightforward than you might think to recommend you one in particular. After all, I don't know anything about your tastes, other than that it's somewhat good if you're still watching this far into my video to hear my voice now. I'm putting in all this effort. The least you could do is notice. I don't want to trouble you for the investment either. I'm sure you're an alright person. There must be an easier way to explain it to you. If I could somehow recreate the show's emotions. Emotions? That's it. I've been too focused on myself. What I need to do is explain clearly, in a way that few people have, not dismissing things that I can't clearly describe and amounting it to some jingoistic mouthwash. I'll crack the appeal. I guess, if you like anime already, there's some aspects that only get elevated by the romance. You don't need some crazy world, some huge worry, or any plot or plot holes. Romances normally have that covered without it. All you need is a couple of likable characters who like each other, and then you can add any normal aspects of storytelling that you would want. You want a romance where the setup is like a strategy game, one where they all get together immediately, or where they've been together since the premise? What am I doing? The appeal is being able to be in the center and recreate the fleeting emotions that one has felt or longed to feel. I'm approaching this all wrong. Maybe explaining something vague in general, spanning countless people across decades if not centuries, if you're speaking culturally, is too big of an ask. Especially since I in no way understand most of it myself. The Western anime community at large seems mentally in their preteens too, yearning to be seen as cool and mature while proudly trumpeting anti-art and somewhat sus general phrases like anime is trash, while latching onto and laughing at 15-year-old dead memes like how Boku no Pico is the greatest romance, nay, the greatest anime of all time. Why try to do anything interesting when general anime reviews light on substance marketed as vague FOMO so that they click more out of curiosity as to what the video is than any content within is pretty much the cultural zeitgeist? Oh, but maybe that's not how it is anymore. Maybe we're finally transitioning into our teens and out of that phase. Wherever we are, I still can't seem to let go of my teenage angst. What's with that snobbish attitude? Knowing how things usually are, they're probably just lashing out at others to feel better about themselves. Knowing sis, they probably just started working on a video and dug themselves into some sort of hole they can't get out of. And then started working slower from self-doubt. And now they're getting grumpy toward the nature of video making itself. No helping it, really. I must not let my current actions get to me. Here I must think rationally. Considering my mistakes up till now to begin with, it seems like I need drastic change in my methodology. I've been trying to convey my feelings directly. My failure is due to my overdependence on a superiority that equates more effort and work to what more people should want, but that's just not even true of myself. It's great whenever I get to enjoy high-effort content, but I mostly just consume low-effort content that gets spat out every day and put in the background while I work, eat, or shower. Okay, let's try this again. Well, what if I just gave a list of romance anime I like? That seems straightforward enough. No, that's too embarrassing. To throw out a BuzzFeed list after all these theatrics? Okay, what if I just put it out there? Classic hiding style. Be honest with my feelings. But can I be more interesting than that? I know. I'll do what I dread the most. Ask someone else for help. That seems like a normal solution. Never. Never, 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 never. Nandaro. What is this in my brain to overcomplicate the straightforward? Do I think just me isn't a good enough thing to put out into the world? Do I think my opinions alone aren't worth listening to? Without research, without fancy edits, without a gimmick, without a moral lesson, do I still have such little faith in the me deep down? Am I still unable to accept a world where I wouldn't be a burden just to freely be myself? With no walls or images? I just want to nicely talk about romance anime, video games, whatever the heck I'm interested in, but my insecurity has grabbed onto me. How many times must number go up before I stop doubting myself into this state of frozenness, not uploading anything at all? When I go to make my main channel videos, still, why doesn't it go smoothly for me? Okay then, I'll just say it as my usual self. But how? Wasn't this building to something? Just this after so long? And besides, how many people are even still watching this long? That's right, maybe less people watching is indicative of my opinion quality. The charisma, the spice, the takeifying, the intrigue. Of course it is, because I'm weird. I'm attention hungry, vain, and my personality isn't too good either. I'm not a well-carved shoujo dreamboat anime character. All of my many relationships have been failures, too. What do I know about romance? I like me because I like the things I like, but how does that validate them as good? Separated from those things, I have no idea what's good about myself. Separated from the things that can be logically deduced, how can anything I say about art be verified as worth listening to? Experience? I'm sure plenty of war criminals were experienced in war. Doesn't exactly exclude them from being criminals. I feel like I have so much love in my heart. I love all the small parts of each day. I love receiving comments and hearing people's opinions. I still have notifications on for them on my phone. So when I go to look, there's always a new comment on my lock screen. I love that romance highlights that aspect of reality. I love that romance highlights the ugly, embarrassing, cowardly ways that people will do all within their power not to grab that which is sitting within their reach. I relate to the envy of those who can grab what's in front of them, while I myself lie perfectly able to do so myself, and even with expectation from others. I'm going to change. Right now, I must look very ugly. Now, I finally know what was keeping me from acting. I was running away. Life is unbelievably complicated. The amount of variables at play would fry the human mind even if we were able to observe it. Each encounter really is a chance one, so we have to make the most of it. Each recommendation, each opportunity, we have to grab it. And in this terror, there's still something so fundamentally beautiful about the fact that we don't have to do it alone.
それに気づいただけ立派じゃん。事実を見つけ出して現実を見据えた時点でもう半分問題は解決されてるのと同じなのよ。
Romance taps into that. It may be rose-colored glasses, but it chooses to immerse itself in the lovely parts of life, and to show the evolving positive moments that can evolve out of the negatives, that can evolve people from their failures and weaknesses, and show these people, even in their ugliness, that there's a beautiful life waiting for them.
嘘の自分は傷つけられても痛くないけど、本当の心は痛いもんね。お姉ちゃんが今傷つけられたら一番怖い人は有馬くんだもん。
People can manage to rise to the occasion. I want to believe in that world. Anyone who talks about any sort of thing they like online, if, for my example, anime professionally, I can't help but feel some camaraderie for most of them. The ad rates aren't too good, the audiences are always evolving and fickle. Unless you're on the absolute top, it's a constant struggle. The outdated Japanese copyright system pushes us down, but despite everything, the anime community keeps growing and fostering itself. And that springs from something important: human passion. Passion is the romance of life. The driving force, the courage, the ability to rise further and smell the future in the air. Romance, at its worst, still manages to let us grasp the positives, but romance, at its best,
最初の相手は有馬がいいわ。
lets us grasp at that which we were running from. Grasp at the passion. Grasp at the romance that sits within every life. Or something. And that's what romance means to me. I live and die on my patron support. Thank you so much for being the fuel to my passion. I am currently paying $600 for my part of the monthly rent, and I would really like to be able to pass that amount on Patreon if possible. So thank you to those who are already helping, as well as, of course, Daniel Frousing, My Name is Klein, Tame Moore, Whizbang2093, Frillneck Lizard, Icarus, Yuki, Young Suk Chung, and the rest of you who've donated over the years. Or to those who watch, like, and comment on my videos. I hope you enjoy the ending.
すごい。どうしてそんなに賢いの？漫画と小説で得た知恵さ。